Welcome back to Primetime News and a special welcome to folks on OneSpotMedia.com. Up first this evening, small hoteliers are benefiting from the demand for rooms in resort areas as several major properties continue to recover from Hurricane Melissa-related damage. That's the report from Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, JHTA. Now, the organization says while the sector recovers and more rooms come on stream, operators must also contend with shortages in the supply chain. More in this report from Javon Keys.
December to April is high time for local hoteliers, with the winter tourist season just days before the hoteliers and other attractions are still shut until later this year. President of the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, JHTA, Christopher Jarrett, says small players are filling the gap.
We are seeing for the small to medium-sized properties occupancies that are steady in Mobay. As we go out to Negril side, it seems to be a little uneven, where some properties are doing well and others are not. So it's a mixed bag. But it would seem to me, for the most part, that the large hotels, room count, absence of the room count from the large hotels is contributing to the benefit of the smaller properties.
Mr. Jarrett is also CEO of Altamont Hotels. He says occupancy in the Montego Bay area is about 70%. As for the length of time stakeholders are taking to bounce back from the hurricane,
the fact that the hotels are just now recovering, I think is not necessarily a bad thing, the pace at which we're recovering, because there's still attractions open. The Airbnb sector, as it likes to be described, is robust, and we think that area is taking up a lot of the slack in the meantime.
And the U.S. travel advisory upgrade for Jamaica earlier this year, moving from level 3 to level 2, is also expected to boost the confidence of potential travelers. As for the supply chain, there are still shortages some hoteliers are facing. Mr. Jarrett says the JHTA continues to work with the government for some import allowances.
So, having identified the shortages in the market, eggs being one of them, the main ones that we've been talking about for some time, even as long as a year ago, when we had identified the shortage in the market, we have been pushing for concessions and for the allowance for individuals to be able to import, not just for the tourism sector, but for the larger market.
Javon Keys, TVJ News.
50 residents in hurricane-ravaged parishes have received payments of $500,000 under the government's Restoration of Owner or Occupant Family Shelters Roofs program so far. And as more persons get help, the government has tasked the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, MOCA, to identify any instances of fraud in the initiative. After months of waiting post-Hurricane Melissa, the government has begun the disbursement of financial assistance to Jamaicans whose homes were damaged or destroyed. Under the $10 million roofs program, payments for severe damage valued at up to $500,000 have officially commenced.
The government has also issued so far to 50 persons who have been assessed as having severe damage. So far, since we have started, which was just today, 50 persons have gotten their $500,000 grant to restore their roof.
Households with primarily senior citizens have also received their disbursement through direct deposit.
Already, the government has distributed 1,234 grants under the Roofs program, and they have done this by direct transfers, meaning it has gone from the bank account of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security into the bank account of the 1,234 beneficiaries.
And a further 20 Jamaicans received prepaid cards with their disbursement. Dr. Holness says with all payment modalities now activated, the government is fully prepared to disburse funds to help all types of damage. In the meantime, to prevent fraud, Dr. Holness has tasked the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, MOCA, to provide some oversight.
We have to check that if you got a grant, that you actually use it for the purpose you got the grant for. And that you're not defrauding the government. I want to sound the warning clearly that if you get the grant, the portion of the grant that is directed at your roof, fix your roof, start your roof.
Over a decade since the creation of fish sanctuaries, which are protected waters where fish are allowed to grow to maturity, one marine biologist says he is not impressed with the level of growth. Krista Campbell was in Discovery Bay recently and filed this report.
A meal on someone's plate. But at this location, academic coordinator for the University of the West Indies UWI Marine Lab in Discovery Bay, Dr. Camilo Trench, noted the fish population was not very impressive. He said part of the problem is that persons still fish in the area illegally and that this sanctuary in particular lacked financial support to adequately monitor the space.
Most of the sanctuaries across the island that are doing well, they have good tourism partners. Think about the work that Sandals Foundation is doing and guys are doing out at Arakabesa, etc. But down here, our tourism interests are very small and not so active, so we don't have a lot of financial support for the sanctuary.
However, he noted that with just between 10 and 15 years since the protected space was established, there's still time for the exponential fish population growth that the sanctuary was created to generate.
Let me put it in context. When I was doing my instructor training in Florida, we went to a reef called Molasses Reef. And on that reef, you'd see parrot fishes that are 2 or 3 foot long. And I've never seen such a fish in Jamaica, and large schools of these fish. But these are fish sanctuaries and marine protected areas that have been established for over 50 years. So we'll get there with better management and coordination, but we're not there yet.
However, he's encouraged by the fact that within the sanctuary, the fish population was still greater than what's outside of the protected space. And on this dive, there was an exciting discovery.
Most Jamaicans have never seen a large, proper adult parrotfish. So the fishers saw one that was about a foot today, and they were very excited. But this should be commonplace. When you have a fish on your plate, and from end to end the fish is falling off, that's the size of the standard it should be in Jamaica. But because we've removed so many of our predators and we've removed so much of our large fish, we don't have that. We are eating now juveniles who are just like pre-adult. Some of them are breeding population, but the breeding population is getting smaller and smaller.
Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
In another 2 days, the seaside community of Parity in St. Elizabeth should be getting a major cleanup of debris left in the wake of the catastrophic Hurricane Melissa. The National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, says it will be paying special attention to damaged mangroves, noting the importance of the wetlands in the area. Coordinator Italy Patterson-Thwaites explained that the nearby Black River Morass was the first declared Ramsar site, which is a protected space that has international importance. Now, apart from educating residents about the need to protect the wetlands in Parity, NEPA says it will be partnering with other agencies to try and return the mangroves to their original state.
Working with stakeholders such as the Forestry Department, we're working with NWC, we're working with private sector stakeholders to see how best we can bring some support to the Parity area, as well as to do some cleanups within the protected area, some cleanup within the wetland, to do some solid waste, bulky waste removal, as well as to do any restoration work such as planting if necessary.
She says the first phase of the mangrove cleanup will coincide with the February 2 observation of World Wetlands Day.
So on that day, NEPA, along with the different stakeholders such as Forestry Department, will be here on the ground in Paraty, working with the community members, doing some heavy cleaning of the wetland, doing some sensitization, and also working with NWC to get some water back into the community. We're also in talk with the Ministry of Agriculture and the National Fisheries Department, Fisheries Authority, and NSWMA to do some works within the area.
A cold front is expected to start impacting weather across the island from tonight. The Met Service says citizens should brace for cooler temperatures, gusty winds and increased rainfall over the next few days, especially in northern parishes and hilly areas. Now, fishers and other marine interests are urged to be extra careful as sea conditions are expected to deteriorate. Now, we'll have more in the weather report and forecast later in this package. The Jamaica Customs Agency, JCA, is planning to change how passenger luggage is processed at Jamaica airports. In a press release, the JCA says the expansion of its non-intrusive inspection capacity at the nation's airports is aimed at ensuring a more thorough assessment of inbound bags and air cargo. Kingsley Henry is Senior Director for Non-Intrusive Inspection and Security at Jamaica Customs.
And so it's important that we have the ability to scan arriving bags before they get to baggage claim. So when you come to baggage claim, you get your bag. And when you go into Green Channel, we can have the greatest confidence that you don't have things in your bag that you're not supposed to have in there. When it comes to air cargo, right now our operations are diffused, taking a whole heap of resources. We want to bring all of that together so that every piece of air cargo that is coming in Jamaica, we can scan it and with the greatest confidence release it, saying that it's free of narcotics, it's free of firearms, it's free of anything that requires a permit for which you don't have a permit or anything that we classify as contraband.
Now, this initiative forms part of Jamaica Customs' broader modernization plan to use technology, intelligence, and risk-based assessments to address emerging threats and strengthen national border security. And it's time for a break, but stay with us. More stories when we return.
From Josh chocolates, ping pong, everybody wants some roasted peanuts is the true number.
The mother of 9-year-old Amoya Moore, who was fatally hit by a garbage truck in Crosskeys, Manchester on December 9, 2025, is insisting on getting justice for her child's death. Samantha Biggs was addressing a packed Church of God of Prophecy on Friday as relatives, friends, teachers and students paid tribute to the 4th grade Villa Road Primary School student.
The nightmares, they're consistent. It's been hard waking up and realizing that my baby is no longer there and cannot hear her laughter. I cannot hear her cheery spirit in the mornings. She's no longer there. Moving on without her, it feels unfair.
She was respectful. She was diligent. She was loved by all, whether at school, in the community, or even just traversing the roadways to school. And I have taken on the task to establish in her memory a scholarship for a grade 4 student who exudes her characteristics. And there are stakeholders already who are willing to partner and to fund so that we keep her memory alive.
Police say little Amaya was not far from home and was heading to school when she was fatally struck. She was reportedly exiting Bonita Heights onto Bonita Crescent at the time, or rather at the same time, the garbage truck was leaving the area. Investigators say the driver was not charged because alleged eyewitnesses failed to give formal reports on the incident. The St. Mary police are investigating a case of wounding with intent in Rio Nuevo this morning. According to reports, about 3:50 a.m., the owners of a garage saw a man suspected of theft on the property. It's understood that the man was confronted and an altercation developed, during which he was chopped several times. The police helped him to hospital for treatment. Now the owners of the garage are in police custody. The St. Mary police are asking anyone with relevant information about the incident to call the St. Mary CIB at 876-992-2233 or 876-994-4223. Crime Stop at 311 or the nearest police station. And that's the local segment of Primetime News. News from overseas right after this break.
Primetime News, brought to you by
the KFC value menu has you thinking chicken. Get the famous bowl combo for just $640.
When the power goes out, new hazards start lurking. Every year, lives are lost.
Welcome back to Primetime News. In news overseas, the U.S. Justice Department, I beg your pardon, that's the U.S. Department, released more than 3 million pages of files related to the Jeffrey Epstein investigation on Friday. Among them, a draft indictment that was never brought against Epstein and 3 unnamed defendants. It accuses them of conspiring from 2001 to 2005 to get underage girls to engage in lewd conduct with Epstein for money. Now, the document mentions 19 girls under Jane behind those pseudonyms. It claims they were as young as 14 and were paid several $100s. Instead of bringing the 60-count indictment against Epstein and the 3 others, federal prosecutors reached a non-prosecution agreement with Epstein in 2007. Through it, he avoided federal charges and served 13 months in state prison over state prostitution charges. The Primetime News package continues with sports after the break.